So we get a response now to the claim with Limpopo Department of Education spokesperson Mike Maringa, who joins us this morning. Mike, good morning, and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Ms. Chava, and good morning to the viewers.
So you've heard for yourself the BBKS High School has been battling for an exam registration number since early 2022. Can you explain why, despite two previous court rulings, your department has still not issued out the exam registration number? Most recently, Judge Makoti ruled 3 weeks ago that the department must provide that exam center number, calling your refusal unfathomable. Has the department complied with Judge Makoti's order? The school says they've not received the number. Why not?
Masawa, let me first start by indicating that we are challenging that judgment. Will be in court next week on the basis that we watched with disappointment the interview yesterday where the spokesperson for the said school intentionally misrepresented facts. But let us put it into perspective. In their own admission, the school says they were granted accreditation by Umalusi in December 2024. Our processes for administering examination closed on the 31st of October on the same year, 2024. This means that by the time they got the accreditation, we had already closed for the administration of examination for them to can be granted an examination center number. But we must also put it as a fact that the accreditation that they got from Umalusi, it's a provisional accreditation for 2 years. This means that in the 2 years that they are accredited, we are expecting them to start with grade 10, which will be in 2026. They will be having grade 10, that will be the first year. In 2027, we're expecting them to enroll grade 11. It's only in 2028 that the school can start administering NCS, National Senior Certificate Examination.
It's only in 2028. Let me just pause you. Let me pause you for a second there, if I may. The department previously told BBKS that they could not be registered as an exam center because they don't have Umalusi accreditation granted. But Umalusi says they need your exam center number first. How do you explain this contradiction?
No, you are correct. Umalusi only granted them the accreditation. We could only entertain them after they were given accreditation by Umalusi. This accreditation that we are talking about only came in December when our processes had closed in October 31st. I must also indicate that BBKS is not the only school that is in this situation. We had about 7 of them. We started engaging them in the beginning of the year to indicate that they were not supposed to be having those grades because they did not have accreditation can have grade 10, 11, and 12 in their institutions. We started engaging them to say they need to share the learners to the schools that have got examination center numbers. So unfortunately, some of these schools are using the learners as their shields to continue operating even when they did not have accreditation. There was a misrepresentation of facts that says that since 2022, they have been waiting for an examination center from us. And the processes are very clear, Master. We can only start entertaining that once you got an accreditation from Umalusi. In their own admission, if you have seen their press release, they are admitting that Umalusi only granted them that accreditation in December. When the processes were gone, when we were closed, we can only start entertaining them. And it will not be a full-blown, they will not administer examination for 3 grades. It is a phased-in approach. First year we do grade 10, second year it's 11, and they will only do matric on the 3rd year. That's how the process goes. It's not only for BBKS, it's for all the independent schools that are on our database.
All right, Mike, I hear all of that, right? But, you know, from the clip that we've also just played again from the conversation that I had yesterday with the spokesperson of the school got a positive court judgment. And your department was ordered to reinstate services for the assessment system. You did comply initially, but then in May, your department revoked those same services you had just reinstated. Why?
It is simply because we are the assessing department. We went to the school and we realized that they are floating all the processes. They are in contempt of our policies. They are not compliant. If when the school was issued with a number to operate as a school, they were only supposed to have grade 8 and 9, awaiting the finalization of their application direct to Umalus. When we went there, we realized that they have overlapped. Instead of the 2 grades, they were now also offering other grades up until grade 12. Because they were not complying, we had to withdraw all that. They were supposed to remain with only 2 grades so that they can start with the phasing approaches from next year. So they are not compliant. That's why we had to take that decision.
But now the fact remains that the court has ruled in favor of the school, and the department is it's confirmed that you are deliberately going against the judgment. Does your department understand that every time you revoke services, these students lose more time, more certainty, and more hope as their future is at stake right now?
Shaba, we don't have any future that is at stake. We started communicating with this school and the 6 others as early as May to say they need to shed learners. They know we have identified centers where these learners are supposed to go. We had given them timelines. Every time we go there, they are not cooperating. Fortunately, with the other schools, we managed to shed learners to the nearby centers where they are supposed to ride. But with BBKS, it's a different story. Every time when we try to intervene, when we need the intervention of the learners and the parents, they are shutting their doors on our face. Just last week, our team went to that school. They were denied access into the school. We are not saying these learners are not supposed to write. We are agreeing, but they are not an examination center. There will be an examination center in 2028. For now, we are saying take the learners to the nearby centers that we have identified. They will write them. We must also take into cognizance that examinations in their nature, they are very sensitive. You cannot administer national senior certificate when we are not convinced that you will be able to do grade 10 and 11. We need to do checks and balances. We need to be sure. There's a lot that goes into the administration of examination. Hence, the provisional accreditation for 2 years. It gives us time to assess your readiness for national senior certificate. We are going back to court, Ms. Chava, and we have noted that the judgment as it is, it did not take into consideration that the school that went there to seek an urgent relief was not honest with the court in that when they went, the processes were gone, were closed already in October, as I've indicated. So they know that by October this process was done, but they continued to keep the learners in their schools, knowing that those learners were not supposed to be there. And we are saying,
all right, Mike.
trial examination.
Yes. How many other schools in Limpopo are currently waiting for exam center registration?
We have 7 schools. We had a meeting with them. They were all called into the department to say that they cannot administer examination. There were 7. 6 are complying. It's only BBKS that is refusing to release learners because they understand the phasing approach that we have told them. All along, we've been accused of being the ones that are delaying the process. And we're saying, we've got Umalus is an independent body. We cannot act up until you've got that accreditation. But what we have noticed, Ms. Chava, is that once these schools are accredited provisionally, they want to run examination for the whole FET band grade 10 to 12. And that's not how it works. The policies are very clear. It's a phased-in approach. You start with grade 10, 11, and 12.
Well, it seems that there's clearly something broken with the system. What changes is the department considering to prevent similar situations in the future?
I think we need to tighten our assessments, checks, and balances. We need to have more people on the ground just to ensure that these schools are complying with our service level agreements. They are not overlapping, having grades that were not supposed to be there. But they are doing it deliberately because what we have noticed, Master, or noted, is that some of these independent schools are in it for money. they do not want to release these kids because they are benefiting in the process. So we are saying it must not be about their pockets. Let's look at the well-being and the future of the learners, because it's a very a serious process in that as and when we started with this process, we even brought in our social workers for the debriefing sessions of the learners who are now at this school and are supposed to write at the next school. And we were very generous to say, you can remain here, but this is not an examination center number. We can't be bringing examination question papers here when we are not sure, when we have not done assessments before your application time.
So, Mike, before we let you go, you've mentioned the well-being of the learners. It is the very learners who are being inconvenienced. What is your message to the BBKS High School community and the 10 matriculants in particular affected by the situation?
Master, it's a very sad state of affairs in that we are only left with about 7 days before the start of the trial examination. And if they are not going to release them to write the prelims, unfortunately, they won't be able to write the final examination. So we are pleading with parents, the parents of the 10 matriculants who are there, to cooperate, work with the department, allow their learners to go and write next door. It's only the writing of examination that must happen next door, because we know it's a school that we can give question papers to. They understand the processes. They know how to store them, how to distribute, and when. So they need to work with us. It's only 7 days, but unfortunately, we find ourselves at a situation where the school is bluntly refusing to release the learners, and we are again going to court on Tuesday to at least give the court a view that the future of learners are at stake, and unfortunately we cannot be taking question papers where we are not sure if the examination will be run properly.
All right, Mike, we will leave it right there, but thank you so much for your time. We can only hope for the best possible outcome for those students. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.